Hey, this is the World Advice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is a topic of how we can end a mass shooting crisis that has been, of course, going on in the world, specifically in the West, and even more specifically in America. So for this video, I'm going to explain how we can end it in a simple and straightforward way, so even those unfamiliar with this topic can understand it, so this crisis that's taken so many lives can end once and for all. So now I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to the topic of how we can end this mass shooting crisis, it simply comes down to the fact that we need to let people be able to defend themselves, okay? Whether it's in school or the workplace, if someone's physically or verbally insulting you, whatever, verbally insulting you or physically insulting you, you have the right to fight back. Because most of the things, what I'm aware, that cause all these mass shootings, even just down to common sense, and even a basic degree of research, it is caused by people, who were treated terribly by people, okay? A lot of these people who commit these mass shootings, not all, but most of them, when you look at their story, they were treated terribly by people. And not just bullied, but like absolutely treated the worst you can imagine and beyond, which is the reason why they did the things that they did, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? To be truly honest with you. So common sense, another thing that also relates to common sense would also indicate, no shit, is that you can't let people have their emotions build up like that. Like anything in the world, if something builds up too much, and it just keeps on building up, at one point it's going to explode. And when it comes to emotions, it's the same exact thing, because the truth of the matter is, what causes a lot of these mass shootings is people who were treated terribly and they weren't able to really do anything. They weren't able to really verbally attack back or physically assault a person back, and it just built up until it's just like, fuck it, I have nothing to live for. Let's just go shoot up the place and kill a bunch of people, to be honest with you. And even if they might have tried to do something, they're hesitant to, which made it easier for the bully to pick on them even worse, which is definitely something I know happens a lot for people who are bullied. They act like they're gonna fight, but they don't do anything, and it makes them even look even worse than if they just didn't even respond. And a lot of that happens, of course, because people are scared that if they retaliate, they're going to get in a world of trouble. A lot of people get expelled for simply defending themselves, even though they're not the instigator, which makes people feel all this misery and pain and suffering, and it just builds up until they explode. And that is the honest truth of the matter, why this stuff kind of happens. Because, of course, if you're treated like shit, and not just treat like shit, but you're treated like shit all the time and stuff, it can make people start kind of going kind of cuckoo and just going like just becoming miserable. And the thing about bullying, contrary to popular belief, just to add to that, is that unlike common misconception people have about bullying and stuff, or just harassment, whatever you like to say, is that it's not usually sometimes just the direct bullies who are responsible. It's sometimes the kids in the background who laugh at the jokes and join in picking on this kid, which makes the person even more miserable because they start feeling like everyone's out to get them. It makes them even more likely, of course, to take out everybody else. Because like, if everyone hates me, then why not just fucking go out and take everybody else with me? And that's the way these people think, from what I've heard, and I've done some research and stuff about these people, and they act that way because they were treated fucking terribly. So it's just like, fuck this shit. Everyone in the world hates me. I'm already miserable. I don't even want to live in this planet anymore. So why not just take somebody else with me? That's why I use common sense, and that's why these things happen so freaking much. And that's why we need to, of course, do something to end this situation. Okay, because common sense would indicate that if people were able to defend themselves, people who are bullies would be less likely to do it. Because most people who actually bully tend to target numerous individuals, okay? So whether you directly are the one who fights against them, or a school with someone else, they're at some point gonna fuck with the wrong person and get a real freaking beating. In all honesty, to be quite blunt and honest with you. So it's gonna dramatically decrease the chances of obviously, people being bullies, because they're gonna realize, okay, I do something. If it's not this kid who I know I treated terribly, absolutely horribly, to be even more specific, I know this other person, I might fuck with him. I thought, oh, this kid's a joke, and he ends up knowing how to fight, and he absolutely beats him up. Let alone the fact that sometimes people will see somebody get picked on and just randomly see it and say, oh God, I hate seeing people get picked on, and just beat up the bully even on that other kid's behalf. So that is the honest truth when it comes to bullying. Okay, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? Comments would indicate if people could defend themselves, the stuff would obviously end. And as a result of it ending, it would make it less likely people are going to have all this misery build up in them and be, as a result, less likely to explode, and not just less likely to explode, but less likely to feel the need to, of course, through their explosion, take out a bunch of people by shooting them. And that's common sense 101. And that is the honest truth of how we get in this crisis. Because literally all of it is down to that. People, like everything, will try to talk around and this and that, but at its fundamental core, that's really about it. There's nothing more to it than that. That's literally it. And especially in a world where we live, where when you actually do something wrong, people act like it's the fucking end of the world. Like, we live in a society where if you go to prison, people do actually believe it is right for somebody, even if they committed a crime that's not even that bad, they think it's right for people to get raped, okay? And just in general, even aside from people's perception and lack of sympathy for people who get raped, in general, people who obviously get involved in the justice system are treated horribly, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? They're treated worse than you can even imagine in some cases. So in all honesty though, to be quite blunt and honest with you, if we already live in a world that treats people so freaking badly when they do something, wrong, in all honesty, and of course you're a law-abiding citizen, who doesn't get involved in that shit, and you're still being treated badly, and even for defending yourself, it makes it even more aggravating, to be quite blunt and honest with you. To be honest with you, okay? To think that it creates a situation where, on one hand, I could do nothing and I'm absolutely miserable, but when I do something, I can potentially take the risk of getting in a world of trouble, not just in terms of, like, obviously getting in trouble with the school or the workplace, but even getting arrested, because some schools, especially older schools, of course, as older people, do call the police on people who fight back when they're being bullied. So it creates a situation, what the fuck do I do? When I do something wrong, people get angry at me. When I don't do anything, people are still treating me like shit. It makes people miserable. And it makes people go like, I have nothing to lose for it, so I'm just gonna fucking take a bunch of people out. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. That's why I use critical thinking, in honesty, okay? To make sure that you don't have a situation. They don't have to worry about getting in trouble with the school, let alone getting in trouble with the law. And that's the honest truth, to be quite blunt and honest with you. And that is the very fundamental truth about this particular topic, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? And if we can end this problem, then we can obviously end the mass shooting problem for good, because literally at its fundamental core, that's what the cause of it is. Just saying, oh, guns, because we have so many guns out there and high-powered guns and blah, 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 blah. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? The issue is that someone's being freaking terrorized. No one's going to just randomly say, oh, I'm just going to shoot someone just for the sake of it. There's a cause to what caused them to do that. And that's what we're talking about. What is the cause of it? And that's where using critical thinking comes in the mix. And that is the honest truth. So anyway, this is my video where I discuss the topic of how we can end a mass shooting crisis, in a simple, straightforward way so anyone can understand it, So I hope you enjoyed this video. And just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all I have to say. And simply put, I'm out. Soul Body.